Are you ready? Get ready for this.
Good morning and welcome to the Real Estate of Real Estate. I am Kindra Kennedy with Stewart Title, and my role and my goal is to connect you with the people you need to know to do your business better in 2023 and to slay. So I would like to introduce my guests, Cindy and Gerry Joseph. They are in the real estate industry. They're both realtors, and they have a diverse way of making sure that they're going to survive and get ahead and be ahead and stay ahead in this next year and 2 years. So I want to go ahead and just turn it over to you, Cindy and Gerry, and you can kind of give a little bit of background about yourselves, like how you got into real estate, how long you've been in it. Tell us about you.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having us on your podcast. We're really excited to be here. And really, we kind of just, I'll start with myself first. I kind of just stumbled into real estate about 12 years ago. It was honestly nothing I ever envisioned or ever thought about doing. And my lovely husband here said, you should really go into real estate. And I thought, no, that's not what I, felt like I was destined to do. But here we are. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'll piggyback on what you just said. From the time that we met, the first thing I said to her, I'm like, hey, you be a good realtor, right? And then that was 17 years ago. And I keep pushing it. And 12 years ago, she decided to make that jump into real estate. As for me, I feel like real estate is in my DNA. I grew up in real estate. My parents always instill in us real estate, right? So I grew up thinking that, hey, I have to be in real estate. Went to college, and I've been trying since college. And I went to work for a retail company. Then went to work for a builder, and I just fell in love with the aspect of construction, real estate. And I've been trying ever since to get into real estate. So about 10 years ago, made the switch.
Awesome. So one of the things I find, what I love about y'all is the fact that from the get-go, you have kind of figured out how you want to set yourself apart, how you want to be different from others so that people see you, know you, and you're always up front in their mind. Yeah. So kind of tell how you got into, because you have a YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And so I see your Facebook Reels and the Instagram Reels. So tell about what made you decide to get in to go that avenue.
Yes. So that's a good question. So for us, we've always kind of presented ourselves as, 2 for 1. That's always our joke. So when we meet with clients, we always tell them, hey, if you hire Cindy, you hire Gerry, because we're a 2 for 1 deal. So,
by the way, she's the 1.5 and I'm the half.
So we always want to make it, about just the experience, right? So what it is that they're going to gain by working with us, and really always wanted to differentiate ourselves from, all the rest, because Gerry provides such a different value proposition when we go, especially when we're, meeting with buyers or sellers. So for us, I guess, kind of to answer your question on getting that business into more of the YouTube channel and doing the reels, I think we just want to be, kind of on people's mind, right? Because there's so many people out there that don't obviously know who we are, and we want to be able to show them a little bit about what it is that we do and who we are, I would say, right, as a team, because we have fun. We enjoy what we do, and we're always just, having a great time. I think that makes a different experience for the buyers and sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, other thing also too, though, is that we pride ourselves in being who we are, authentic, and then being who we are as a good person, always looking out for people and making sure that people are well taken care of. We don't look at client as client. We look at client more like a family, right? Meaning that when they come into our circle, we want to make sure that we are providing the best service that we can to them at all time, right? If it could be, hey, there are times we've told clients, hey, this is not the right house for you, right? And here's the reason why. right? And we're not in the business of transactional business. I mean, we want to be in the business of relationship, where when we have a client, it's a lifetime client, not just a one-time client.
Yeah. And just to add to that, because I love that, that's exactly right. So what I think social media has allowed us to do is to also use that as an additional outlet to show that, authenticity of us and who we are. And so the channel is just another outlet. We do all sorts of things, right? So we'll do, tours of the houses that Gerry goes into, the houses that he's building. And then we also do a lot of, value added things for real estate agents, because as new agents that get into real estate, it's stressful, right? It's very eye-opening. So I think doing the social media reels and even the TikToks that we enjoy and have fun with, it just gives somebody an idea to learn, a little bit more about us. And
plus it probably makes your kids crazy that you do the TikToks anyways.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's about showing our personality, right? Who we are as a couple, right? We like to have fun. We play hard, and we
we work hard and we play hard. Yeah, right. For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell a little bit about your team, Cindy, because you have a team of agents. You've got your group. And then after that, Gerry, kind of tell about the building aspect. Because when they say, listeners, that basically they're 2 for 1, is that Gerry can come in. If you're buying a home, he knows if you've got to do things to fix it up, he knows what that's going to cost. So you can realistically go into, especially a first-time home buyer that's like, no, I don't want new, I want pre-owned. Well, guess what you're going to get into if you have a 30-year-old home or a 20-year-old home. So he can basically give that aspect of what it's truly going to cost you or set you back if you've got these different things you need to redo in the home. So, but tell a little about your team and Cindy, because you've got such a fun team of people to work with.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So when I went into real estate, prior to going into real estate, I actually was an associate director of enrollment. So I had about 140 enrollment counselors that worked with me. So when I joined real estate, I said, I never, ever want to be responsible for anybody but myself. I was like, no team, no coaching, no leadership, no mentoring. I'm just going to take care of me. Well, that lasted about 9 or 10 months. And then I was like, you know what? I'm so passionate for helping people and I love coaching. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to start a really small team and, be very selective on the type of people that we bring on. So we really do believe that, though. We bring on people that we feel can really mesh with our vision and our current culture and just the desire to do things above and beyond what, so that servant leadership, I guess. So we have a small team, but they work super hard. They're all so incredible. I will say as, a team lead, you're always, you get people in, you do lots of coaching and training, and it's like a child, right? As they grow up, then they kind of,
they sprout their wings.
So some of the folks some of them have actually joined and started their own teams as a result of the work that we've done together. So I'm very proud of that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always a good sign, though, meaning that when you have people come into your team, you train them and when they go in and start their own thing, right? I always think it's a sign of a good manager, right? Although it's painful, you spend a lot of time, but it's a sign of growth and it's a sign of of who you are, right? Mm-hmm. So as for me though, yeah. So as for me though, what I provide to the team though is my technical background, right? So I've been doing construction now and construction, selling, buying, and building for about 10 years now. And what I bring to the team is that I can walk into a house with a buyer and I can tell you within 5 to 10% what it's going to cost you to get the house back into your vision and what you are looking for, right? So that's a very good skill set I think we have, and clients seems to appreciate that. And when you go into the house, you can dissect the house and you say, hey, you know what? You're gonna need plumbing, you're gonna need foundation, you're gonna need drywall, you're gonna need to remodel your kitchen, remodel your bathroom, you're gonna need a new roofing, right? So be able to provide all that to a client, and I think that sets us apart. right? Because not many realtor in the business, I believe, have that skill set to be able to pinpoint exactly what is wrong with the house and what it's going to cost to build that house. And I think we've done a pretty good job at transferring the skill set onto you and to your team. So now she can go into a house and she'll call me. It's like, honey, is this a load bearing wall? I'm like, yep, it is.
And the cool thing is, I did that the other day. I was in the house and I was actually with one of my clients, and she brought in her outside contractor, and I was like, that's perfect. Great. Right. And so he was kind of like, well, I'm not sure about this. And I said, well, you know what? Although this is a load bearing wall, we could do a cutout so you could still open it up. And it was hilarious. He was looking at me. She was looking at me like, wow, this chick knows her stuff. I was like, yep, I was trained well.
So these are the points that we bring to a client, right? And then and I do believe that sets us apart from the market.
I agree with you. And the name of your builder, your Forward Builders, right?
Yes, we are with Forward Builder. So my business partner and we just established a Forward Builder, and we are currently building about 4 homes in Enchanted Hill. And those homes will be anywhere between 9,500 square feet to 12,000 square feet. And they are ranging anywhere between 3.5 million to 4 million. And we also are building 6 in Greenville. 3 of them already, and then 3 more are on the way under construction. And those price point will be anywhere between 300 to 350 on price point.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've really got that's a big variance. That's
Yes.
amazing. Do you have a link that you'd like to have us share for that at all?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. We'll type it in and you guys can share it.
That'd be awesome, because what we have found lately, and I'm sure you have too, is the market's getting better. It's picking up, and people are realizing, okay, it's not falling apart. We can buy a home. And actually, in your mind, what would you tell buyers right now and sellers? What would you be both saying to buyers and sellers, and are you saying to them?
Yeah. So the message I'm saying to my buyers, because, when the interest rates went up and a lot of buyers kind of put the brakes on and said, you know what, I'm just going to wait until there's more certainty in the market. It got real quiet. And so I've been reaching out to buyers that, said that to me several months ago and telling them, hey, now is the time. Right. Although, yes, we have no control over the interest rates, but you can go in and you can actually get a great house and not have to pay $50,000 to $100,000 over the asking price. And we can actually get sellers to accept our VA loans, right? Because we help a ton of military. So we can get sellers to accept the VA offers and give some closing cost assistance. So I'm just kind of, spelling that out and really writing it out and showing them, yes, the rate is, let's just say 6.5%. And a year and a half ago, it was 4.5%. So, right. Yes, your payment is $300 a month more. However, there are lenders out there too that we've partnered with that do it's called a 2-1 buy down. So, essentially the client can go in, purchase the house. If the rates are at 6.5%, that first year they get it 2% lower. So that's 4.5%. The second year it goes up to 1%. So now it's 5.5%. And then at that point, guess what? Most likely, hopefully, the market goes back to a normal state and rates go back to hopefully, maybe in the 5s, and they can always refinance. So we're really trying to create some urgency, especially because, rates or, leases, right? If you want to lease out a home or if you want to rent an apartment, all of those are going up. I mean, I get clients that call every week and say, wow, they just sent a notice that my rate went up or my rent went up $300 a month. And I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get moving. So we're having those conversations with buyers as well as sellers.
Yeah, it's about being creative, right? And finding the right solution for that client. As you mentioned earlier, it's partnering with the right lender to make sure that they understand your client and making sure that they're able to provide a good service to your client, right? Like the 2-1 buy down. That's a great program that our lender provide to our clients, and it's been very successful for us in the past. Yeah.
Well, and it also sounds like, especially the homes that you're building up in Greenville, those sound like perfect first-time home buyer homes. And I know that one of the lenders that you work with and some of the lenders we work with and see, they've got some amazing programs for first-time home buyers. Awesome
Yes.
programs.
Yes, absolutely. So again, it's about being creative, right? So as a builder, we want to it's about turning the inventory, right? We want to build it and we want to sell it. We don't want to hold on to it, right? So as a builder, we have to be creative and working with our preferred lender to make sure they provide the right incentive, right? And although we are splitting the incentive between the builder and the lender, but at the end of the day, the client gets a good product. They are able to move in, and the interest rate is not as intrusive as it would be, 6% or now they are looking at 4% versus 6%.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
So,
and
go ahead.
one more point I want to add though, in our higher end home, we generally we are seeing a trending up, right? Meaning that although the home is valued at a very high point, we are not seeing a slowing down in that market,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And what I'm seeing though is that the higher the price point is, once you pass that 1.2 1.3 million, you tend to have more of the executive level client, right? You tend to have cash buyers, right? And generally, at that price point, what we are seeing though is somebody saying, "Hey, you know what? We are one deal away from paying off the house." So although they may be paying 6-7% on the house, but in 6 months they're going to turn around, they're going to pay cash for it.
Yes. Well, I think we're seeing also, just like you're saying, we're seeing that the higher end, say 1.5 to 2 million and above, it's selling. It just maybe taking a little longer to sell. The buyers are a little pickier because now, of course, they have more inventory out there. But they are either your cash buyers or they're your half cash buyers, and they are. But it is selling, and even any between the 800,000 to say 1.5 mil, it's selling also. And we're seeing less cancellations, we're seeing less price reductions, we're seeing it's just taking a little longer to sell. We're just kind of back to where we were 3-4 years ago, into more of a real market.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just you have to be persistent and just really get out there.
Well, and at that price point, though, the expectation is a whole lot different,
Yes.
right? As far as the finishing in the house, the appliances, the cabinet, the countertop, the tile that you use, the wood floor, that expectation. If you were to say, it's above the roof,
It's
right?
your Viking. It's your
Exactly. And as a builder, though, we pride ourselves in providing the client with good products, right? And making sure that when somebody moving into our house, they're gonna call us back and said, "Hey, you know what? My mom wants to buy a house. My daughter wants to build a house, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of community that we are trying to build, not transactional, one time.
Mhm.
You pay me and I move on. No, that's not what we're trying to do, right?
Right.
And you can see it in our building, and when we build houses, you can see it though. We can see that we are going above and beyond, right? So, for example, the houses that we are building in Greenville, the finishing that we are offering, there's nobody in the market offering those finishings, right? Because we want to set ourselves apart from everybody else.
That's amazing, because then they're going to refer you on. They're going to be able to, when they go to sell that home, they're going to go sell it for so much more. I mean, and that's where that's where you're setting yourself apart from others in a big way. And I think some builders are starting to come back around because they're having to now. They've got to. They're being forced to. Yeah. Is just provide some of those higher end finishes at the lower end, like they used to.
Yes. Absolutely.
They must. And that's really great.
And for us, so it's an investment, right? It's an investment, although we are giving more. I think in the long run, we will have a more profitable company, right, and a more stable company. And I think from a buyer loyalty, we are trying to create that.
Well, you're really working on your reputation.
I was just going to say reputation.
Reputation. That's what matters. Mm-hmm. And like one of the things y'all both touched on was the relationship aspect. And that's why I've always loved y'all's team so much, is because in real estate, even from the title aspect, my realtors become my friends. The lenders and realtors I work with and builders, they kind of become our friends. And it's just, and it's because you really want to work with someone you trust and and you have something that it's an interesting industry because they become some of the girls I go out with, I mean, so it's just kind of fun. It's just, so that's what I love about y'all is because you're so relationship driven. And even all the agents on your team, same way, very relationship driven. And I mean, I'll answer y'all's calls any time of day.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, people don't like to be sold, right? People, to us, though, the selling aspect of it is it's a minimal effort, right? To me, it's about connection, right? Trying to find how can I serve that person? How can I meet the requirement of that person, right? And once you're able to find that, once you're able to hone in on what is that person looking for, I think the rest is pretty easy to.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Cindy, what would you advise agents right now either getting into the business or agents that have say been here for 2 or 3 years? What would be your advice to kind of shift, change, or what should they be doing to survive? And we all have our plateaus. I mean, we all go through ups and downs, and we realize, oh my gosh, I got to get back to it. You and I have talked about that before, but like, what's your advice for people right now?
I love that question. I do videos and TikToks on that all the time. So I was going to plug the TikTok channel, but actually, no, that's a good question. So really, I mean, the stats are, new realtors that get into the business, 89% of them don't make it past 12 months. And the reason being is because they get into the business, for one, thinking that it's going to be super easy and they're going to make a ton of money. All they got to do is open up doors, right? But the reality hits, especially when we were in, as you mentioned, kind of like this fake market, right? We weren't in a real normal market, right? The last 18 months, I mean, it was just like, literally you could put anything on the market and it was under contract in like 24 hours. It was crazy. It actually drove me nuts because I'm like, what?
Ridiculous.
Like, how are you selling this for $250 a square foot? It was crazy. But anyways, now we've obviously seen a shift. So now real estate agents actually have to work, right? You have to go back out there and you have to find ways to differentiate yourself, right? I know we talk about this all the time, and I talk to my agents about this. What is it that makes you different from all of the other 20,000 plus agents in North Texas, right? So for them, the message that I would say to any new agent or, an agent that's been in the business for maybe just, a couple of years, don't give up. Don't give up, right? Things have changed, but go in there and figure out what it is that you can do to make an immediate impact. So you may need to go and do some old school things. Like for me, when I first got into real estate, because it is relationship driven, is I'm not afraid to go to businesses. I'm not afraid to go, if you're getting your nails done or your hair done, you got to let everybody know that what you do, right? It's not just saying, hey, I'm a realtor, but you show that you care about people because you engage in conversations about, their family and their friends and where they live and what do they like about their community. And then you're able to say, oh yeah, I've been in real estate for quite a while. And, this is what I'm seeing too. And before you know it, you've sparked up a conversation and they're asking you for your information. I'll tell you one other thing, Kendra, that I would say to new agents or agents that are, 2 years or less. Figure out something that you're passionate about and really dive into it. All right, this is what I'll share. So those of you that know me know that I love Zumba. Like I'm a Zumba fanatic. And so when I got into real estate, right, I, started doing Zumba, trying to stay healthy and kind of clear my mind. And I met so many amazing women over the years. And, it's a lunch, it's a brunch, it's a wine event. And next thing you know, everyone knows who and what it is that you do. And you become like the in-house realtor for Zumba. Like Gerry can attest to this. I get calls probably at least once every other week from someone that says, oh yeah, my friend of a friend from, I guess you Zumba with so-and-so told me about you and said, I have to call you. And I'm like, oh, awesome.
Okay.
Listings, I would say probably 25% of my listings easily are just from my Zumba crew.
Wow.
So find something that you're passionate about. Maybe it's you join, I don't know, some committee. Maybe you're on the PTA at the school. You're a Rotary Club member, whatever it is. But figure out something that you're actually passionate about doing and go for it and start to build some relationships with people.
I love that. That's one of the things that I also tell agents, especially agents that come to me and are new to our area or are new agents and don't have the kind of sphere or they just don't have those people, they don't know where to start. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at where you live. Are you going to stay there? Are you living in that neighborhood for a while? Do you have young kids? Have you joined the PTA? What's your passion? Yeah. Is it Zumba? Is it F45? Yeah. Is it, yoga? What is it? Yeah. Or is it volunteering? Go find something. And it's like, and especially if you live in a neighborhood that has a school within it, even if you don't have kids, you take stuff up to those teachers once a month. And you'll hear people say, oh, teachers don't buy. Well, yes, they do.
They do.
Yes, they do. Oh, are you kidding? And it's not just the teachers, it's the parents too. It's the parents volunteering, coming into the teacher's lounge and seeing what you're giving and grabbing your card. So it's like think outside the box.
100%.
Yeah, it really is. And y'all have done such a great job. I mean, y'all are so much fun to work with. And I mean, you even make me be a better agent, because that's one of the things is that, like with myself, I look at okay, I've been calling on these people for months and months and months and nothing. You get a little discouraged and all of a sudden it hits and you're like, okay, so all that hard work paid off. And that's what I have to remind myself is you have to put in the work. You have to call on people, email them, text them, drop in on them. Because that's like me. I'm not afraid to drop in at a broker that I don't know who they are and they don't know me from Adam and bug them until they'll see me. I'm not afraid of it. It's like they can just say no, but they sure as well can say yes too. So it's, it's that persistence factor.
Yeah, it's about the process, right?
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, there's a process. You cannot skip it, right? Meaning that the investment that you have to make in growing your business and getting for people to get to know you, the investment is there. You cannot escape it, right? You cannot go from 1 to 6 without doing 2, 3, 4, 5, right? If you do, you're gonna have to go back and start over again, right? So the process is there, the investment is there. Either you're going to do it by cash investment or you're going to do it with time, right? Either way, it has to be done, right?
And I think one of the things too is that just what y'all said brought up something with me is ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to go to a mentor. If you're a new agent or even been in the business for 15, 20 years, some of the biggest mistakes I see the agents that have been in the business 15 to 20 years is they tell me I've been in the business for 20 years and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, our business changes every 6 months to a year to 2 years. The contract changes. They throw other addendums at us. So that's great. You've been at 20 years, but everything's constantly evolving. There's nothing wrong with asking a question. Nothing wrong with getting that help from somebody that may know something you don't know, because that's the biggest thing in our business is just working together.
Yeah. And I think part of it too, though, I think most agent or most new agent underestimate the investment that it takes.
Yes.
Right. Before you start making revenue. Right. And I think an agent goes in, oh, I'm going to start making money from day one. No, it's not. There's a cycle of the real estate and you have to understand that cycle. And I don't think people actually have enough funds in reserve to get them to the point where they are making money.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, especially when we are interviewing people and asking them, to see if they're going to be a good fit on the team, is finding out what their reality is, right? Going into real estate. And I like what you said, Kendra, about asking questions and partnering and getting mentoring. I'll tell you, this is like one of my lessons that I learned. But when I first started, I didn't do much of that. I figured, you know what, I'll figure it all out. I'm not going to worry about going to all these trainings. I used to do all the trainings, right? And so he laughed because I was at Keller Williams, right? And I was in my first week and I was going through their program. And then they wanted us to make all these calls. And I love Keller Williams, by the way. I'm not there anymore, but I do love them. Anyway,
I was too, actually.
Yeah. They want us to make all the calls. And I was like, I'm not making all these calls, because there was like this big script. And I was like, I'm not doing it. So I went out to my car, and this is a lesson learned, but I went out to my car and I just started calling people that I haven't spoken to in a long time. And the next thing I know, I was driving down to like, what was Duncanville? And I was showing like these $75,000 homes. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm not telling people that's watching this that that's what you should do. Maybe you need some training. Maybe you need to partner up with the right mentor. Don't be afraid, though, to ask, like Kendra said, for help, and work with a coach, right? If you need help, call me. I coach agents all the time, and these are not agents that are only on the team. These are people across the country that will call off the channel or off of something and say, hey, I just have a question. How would you handle this situation? So find somebody that you know, like, and trust, or you can get to know, like, and trust, and don't be afraid to ask for help. So,
well,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, absolutely. The part she alluded to that story, though, is she called me, right? She was like, honey, I'm leaving the training. I'm like, what are you doing? What do you mean you're leaving the training? She's like, I'm leaving the training. I need to go out there and make money.
And I was like, I need to make some money. I can't just sit up in here and like, again, I'm not saying that's for everyone, but that's what worked for me. I was like, I just got to figure out a way to make this work. And the only thing I could think of is, let me grab my phone and actually go and talk to some people that I haven't, spoken to in a while. And so anyway.
Well, I think is that some of that training is so good for people that have never had to get on the phone and call someone and talk to somebody.
For sure.
If you have the experience, you've already done that, it's not as important, but it's more or less the idea of getting back to that.
I agree.
Because being a successful realtor and or lender, it's a full-time job, and you must be the ones that basically are out there and putting your time in. It's a full-time job. But we're about out of time. I really, really appreciate y'all being on. Love talking with y'all and love working with you. And one thing just wanted to go back to is that we're going to post, I have a brand new resource library that we're going to post. That is my website that has all my marketing materials. And it's not marketing materials so much, Stuart. It is stuff about homestead and winterizing your home and contract to close. It also has the link for the DFW school ratings that have been updated, as well as tax rates, the west side and the east side of Dallas-Fort Worth. So, everyone go look at that. And if you have questions or need help, please reach out. One of the things that I love about working in real estate is the connecting. I love working with the Joseph team and being able to connect them and just connect people to them. But please, again, thank you for being on today. We truly, truly appreciate it. And everyone out there, reach out to me if you really want the real estate of today's real estate.
It was a pleasure.